A quick new idea daily from the world's greatest TEDx talks. I'm your host, Atossa Leoni, and this is TEDx Shorts. Pandas have become global conversation icons. But do we really know what it takes to protect them? Ami Vitale is an internationally recognized photographer who's gotten to know these charming creatures firsthand. Today, she offers lessons from panda conservation to share how local communities can protect threatened species around the world.
Who doesn't love a panda? They'll melt your heart. They're adorable. They're probably one of the most recognized animals on the planet. They've got fan clubs. They're basically a virtual icon. And for a long time, scientists considered them this relic species, that they were going to go extinct. And there's a glimmer of hope, finally. Years, decades of efforts by China are finally paying off. They're really performing a minor miracle. The giant panda was taken off the endangered species list. So how did it happen, and why does it matter? This is where I began this story. I was part of a film crew photographing the first female captive-born panda being released into the wild. There were no lines of school children, but as she trundled off into that forest, she took with her the aspirations for an entire species. And, it was challenging as a photographer because how would I make anything different that would surprise our readers? I mean, zoos pay millions of dollars to launch these exhibits of pandas, and they never fail to attract these massive crowds. But once I visited China and started going multiple times, meeting the people behind the panda, learning to understand the panda and trying to think like one, it kind of blew my mind. They basically changed they're bears, so they ate meat like all bears, but they changed their food, they changed their body, they changed their digestive system to eat a diet almost exclusively of bamboo. And for a long time, scientists thought that they were this species without a sex drive, and they were going through extreme methods to try to breed these animals in captivity. But they finally figured out two really important things, and they cracked the code. The first one was the female only has 24 to 72 hours in a year to get pregnant. And the other really important thing was she wants choice. They are very selective about their partners. If you can believe it, they literally have to be trained to be wild. And so they go through these elaborate training programs. They should never be comfortable around human beings. And so we all the scientists, all the keepers, and even myself had to wear these panda costumes. And one of the other important things is they have to run away from predators. So they took these giant stuffed leopards and they wheeled them into these enclosures. They scented them and they put audio recordings under them. Now, if the baby panda was curious and ran up and sniffed the leopard, she failed. But if she ran up to the top of a treetop, she was successful. And she got to go to the next bigger enclosure. So after they pass more and more tests, they get moved into bigger enclosures, which Papa Panda calls schools. You graduate to go to the wild. So miracles can happen. How did they do it? 3 reasons. 1, they built a real community around the panda. Everyone, from scientists to school children and foreign tourists to local communities, were rallying behind this animal. The poaching, which was rampant in the 1980s, stopped. And thirdly, and most importantly, they committed massive resources into creating more habitat, expanding habitat, reforesting areas. That's the most critical piece of all of this. And so nature really is resilient, but we have to give it a chance. So this is a rhino in northern Kenya. And if you can imagine, it's a northern white rhino, and thousands of them used to roam the plains of East and Central Africa. Today, they have to be guarded around the clock by heavily militarized men because poaching has, they basically believe that the horn, that there's medicinal value in the horn, but we all know it's actually the same material which is in our fingernails. It's just keratin, but rhino horn has become more valuable than gold right now. And this is what extinction looks like. It's happening in our lifetime. We're witnessing it, and if the current trajectory continues, we're going to see a whole host of animals like elephants here, rhinos, and even lesser known animals go extinct. So much needed attention has been focused on the plight of wildlife, but very little about the communities, the local communities that surround them. And I think just like the panda, the local communities rally to save that. That's what needs to happen with all of these animals too. We can go out and protect them. The fact that it looks like a story about wildlife, right? It's actually not. It's a story about us. It's a story about our home and our future. And I'm happy to tell you that China and Hong Kong have recently committed to ban all ivory sales. They're leading the world on this, and it's going to make a massive difference to the elephants and all the people who care about them. And so, I think that's the key. We have to start seeing ourselves as part of nature. And our fate is intricately connected to the fate of all these animals. Once we realize this, saving nature is really about saving ourselves.
The TEDx talk you just listened to was recorded in Hong Kong. All TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers who believe in TED's mission of ideas worth spreading. Special thanks to the organizing team at TEDxWanChai. Want to listen to more TEDx talks? Explore the entire archive on the TEDx YouTube channel. I'm Atossa Leoni. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow.